Okay, let's bring in our guest now, and we're joined by Domenic Romano, who is a media analyst and lawyer. Welcome to the program, all of you. Domenic, I'd like to start with you. Let's first of all just clear up the very basics. Was he fired, or was it a mutually agreed decision?
According to reports, and notwithstanding the statement by Fox that they've agreed to part ways, this was a decision that appeared to come from the very top of the network.
And when you say that, do you mean Suzanne Scott, the CEO of Fox News, or do you mean Lachlan Murdoch, Rupert Murdoch?
I mean Rupert Murdoch. He was in a contract, apparently, that was renewed in 2021 with an annual salary of approximately $20 million. In the middle of renewing the contract again for another 6 years to 2029, and it looked like, or he felt like, it was going to be renewed. But something and someone intervened, and now he's without a job.
And the rumor is the Fox News is going to pay him for his entire contract.
Well, I'm not sure about that. There are conflicting reports about that.
Domenic, can I just come to those two lawsuits? We've got the Abby Grossberg lawsuit, which is what Stephen was referring to, and the Smartmatic lawsuit, Smartmatic being another voting machine company. Abby Grossberg, how strong does her lawsuit look at the moment?
I mean, she's alleging sexism, harassment, anti-Semitic behavior, and there are statements that are coming out in discovery. First, Carlson was set to be the first witness in the Dominion lawsuit. No one is untouchable. I agree with Stephen. A message is clearly being sent here, and if you think about it, this is not the first big personality to depart or to be shown the door. Glenn Beck, Megyn Kelly, Bill O'Reilly, none of the three have bigger platforms today than they did when they left Fox. I agree with Stephen. A message is being sent. No one is untouchable. There are limits to tolerance. There are limits to, he described as freewheeling behavior. And if you're going to cost in the aggregate the network what might amount, when the other two lawsuits get settled, and they likely will get settled, be a contributing factor, a major contributing factor of a network paying out $1 billion, there has to be accountability.
You take your pick. I mean, he just got through talking to the Heritage Foundation, and he was talking about how certain leftist progressive movements and actions were tantamount not just to policy making, but to actually being evil. And there are rumors that Rupert Murdoch didn't like Tucker Carlson talking about good and evil and religion to the Heritage Foundation. And a couple of days later, he was fired. Do you think that's the case? Come in, Domenic.
Look, no doubt he was a big star, but the potential liabilities, the risks outweighed the rewards. There's a reason Tucker Carlson was willing to say what other anchors weren't, because he was willing to make statements for which there was no evidence, for which there was no factual basis. And when you do that in a workplace environment, when you make certain comments, and when there are records of those comments exposed in text messages and email correspondence that get discovered in very high-profile lawsuits, there will be consequences. Yes, he had the #1 time slot. He had the main time slot, but mainstream mainstream advertisers had started to stay away. That impacts shareholders. That impacts the potential economic upside to the network. And long term, these legal entanglements create serious liability. It's a dollars and cents calculation at the end of the day.
Can we just talk a little bit about CNN very briefly? They're really just a footnote to this story, which reflects the difference in their anchor's status, Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson. Don Lemon was fired, and the announcement was made just hours after Tucker Carlson. Domenic, do you think there's any significance to the timing there?
That's a great question. I don't know. They may have. It may have been motivated to reduce the amount of attention that it got. If there were something that CNN was planning in terms of timing, it was probably a wise move to have it so close to the larger profile termination. But I'm not familiar with the details surrounding that decision.
A good day to bury bad news, in other words.
I'm told it
Yes.
was a total.
Greg, Dominic, Stephen, thank you all so much for your contributions to the Nexus today. Much appreciated, and thank you at home and on your phones for watching.